suggested that it was going to be about 150,000 less jobs created than the 310,000 roughly that were created in December. Who better to break it down than Charles Payne? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Where did that number come from?
Phenomenal. It's I can't be. You know, this is the most amazing story really of the week. Not only the over 300,000 jobs created in the month of December, it was the best December since 1998. 400,000 people came back into the labor force. You got to understand what's really critical about this. These are people who had given up ever on the idea of working again. 92,000 high school grads came back into the labor force. Over 200,000 people with just a high school diploma came back into the labor force. We are seeing record unemployment numbers, unemployment rates for blacks, for Hispanics. It is absolutely remarkable. And manufacturing, the manufacturing renaissance, some would call it a miracle, some would. This number, by the way, for the whole year, the best year for manufacturing jobs since 1997.
Yeah, we got that.
They said it couldn't be done.
284,000, as Jedediah was going to say. Created in 2018 alone. You know, Barack Obama famously said he doesn't have a magic wand to make that happen. Here it is.
Here it is. These are folks who, you know, they had kind of given up because, again, the experts have said this, you know, and you know, automation, robots, you know, it's cheaper to do this stuff offshore. Well, you know what? We can do it in this country. We could do it better. And when that's exactly what's happening, it's really, this number was a phenomenal number for all Americans. It's a number that everyone should be cheering, every single person in this country.
Wall Street Journal had a headline, "Jobs for the Forgotten Man. Wage increases are reaching even unskilled corners of the labor force." What do you make of that?
I didn't get a chance to break down the supervisor versus non-supervisor, but in November, non-supervisor and the supervisor workforce actually had a bigger wage increase than their supervisors for the first time in 4 years. Wages over 3% year over year. This is the first time this has happened in almost a decade. 3 months in a row, over 3%. The money is making its way. The prosperity is making its way into the heartland. It's making its way into urban areas that have seen nothing but blight. It is making its way into so many pockets of this country where it was sort of an economic desert before.
For example, if you look at the more numbers, we'll give you quickly. January 2018, African-American unemployment was at 7.7%, Hispanic Americans 5%. By the end of the year, African-American unemployment even better, 6.6%. 4.4% for Hispanics. Beyond the numbers, though, Charles, sometimes people don't feel it. And I was amused by what you tweeted a couple days ago, that you were being driven to a speech, and there was a driver saying, Trump is not really helping me. This is not trickling down to me. And you said?
Well, yeah, he was actually, I gave a speech, and he was my driver, and he said, well, the corporate tax cuts don't help me. I said, yeah, maybe not, but I can tell you what, it helps corporations who get a chance to reinvest that money, or maybe like the corporation that's hired me to give the speech and hired you to drive me. so maybe it's a trickle-down effect. Maybe it did help, you know what I mean? He was kind of quiet after that.
That's a good one.
You have a lot of socialists coming out right now. Ocasio-Cortez talking about, you know, tax rates as high as 70%. All of that happening, those people are going to be wanting to usher in policies that are completely the opposite of the Trump policies that have led to this growth. Will they be successful, or will people look at their pocketbooks and say, wait a minute, that's not going to work, this stuff's working?
They may be successful, and for a variety of reasons. First of all, they've got this momentum going behind them because we've dealt with politics of division and envy so long, particularly when it comes to the raises. So, you know, and I think this is where corporate America has to wake up. Because there is a it's not really embracing socialism as much as it's rejecting capitalism. You know, here's this Gallup poll. It's really interesting to me because Democrats, positive on capitalism in 2016 was 56%. Now it's 47%. Positive on socialism went from 58 to 57. So it wasn't that they gravitated to socialism, but it's a wholesale rejection of capitalism, and it's really pervasive amongst 18 to 29-year-olds. So we have to be careful when a company like General Motors is buying back its stock but firing people at the same time. You are fueling this. And by the way, anyone who is not getting, you know, you can get a raise like this, the driver of this car.
Yeah.
But if someone says, well, yeah, some CEO made more than you, then you will feel like, well, still it's unfair. Even though I'm doing great, even though I might be doing better than I've ever done in my life, I might be a construction worker at the peak of my career, I can be made to feel awful or upset or angry if someone tells me, yeah, but the CEO of your company makes X amount.
Class warfare.
Corporate America, though, is tone deaf to this, and they got to stop the corporate virtue signaling and getting rid of plastic straws Now, there was an airline that got rid of plastic straws on a Tuesday, and then Wednesday hiked the bag fees. It ain't gonna work, my friend. Corporate virtual signaling ain't gonna work. We got a serious war going on.
You're right. Approval for capitalism, that same Gallup poll from 2010 to 2018 dropped by 23%, from 68% for young people to 45%. Approval of socialism stayed flat at 51%. You're right. They're looking at what they say are the evils of profit and pointing at that.
Well,
there's no real good alternative.
Well, you know what? There's all kinds of things that can be done. Listen, the world has changed a lot since Adam Smith. But again, corporate America better be smart.
Yeah.
You know, this whole Social Security system we have, it began in Germany with Bismarck. The only reason he put it in was to stop the spread of socialism, right? Because it was never going to work, but he had to give him something. We better be smart with corporate America. And also, let me just read one headline to you before I know you guys give me that look. Apple's China trouble makes Trump's trade war harder to defend. In other words, you know what? The richest company in the world and China should not suffer because we want fair trade. This is the tone-deaf stuff that's killing us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
You got
Charles.
it,
Maybe they should make their stuff here.
Maybe.
You know?
Not
Appreciate
idea.
it.
Yeah.
We got some